Hello everyone and welcome back to Baron's Den for another Star Player Ups and Downs. And today I'm going to look at Captain Karina von Riesz. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. It sounds right, but yeah, no idea. She is a very new Star Player in the history of Blood Bowl, as she did not exist was it 2024 when Vampires came out? Let's have a think. Chaos Dwarfs and Gnomes were 2024, no, 2023. So she's only a couple of years old, bless her. And it's really good to see some more female representation in the game, even if it is through the star players. It would be good to see more through the player models and the tabletop game, and we definitely need to get more female representation into the Blood Bowl 3 game. Whether you could just change bodies and heads, just so we've got a bit more variety of the genders in the teams. I know we already have it with things like the Valkyries and the Amazons are all female, but it would be nice if you could have certainly at least linemen or line women on every team where you could change the genders, but that might be too tricky. But we do have Captain Karina von Riesz, and we need to look into whether she's a good star player or not. So, without further ado, let's look at those ups and downs. So first of all, she's movement 7, which gets an up, because that's fast. She is a runner. That's what it says at the bottom of her card. So her role is to run with the ball. And at movement 7, she's going to be pretty decent at that. You know what else is decent? Strength 4. So strength 4 means that she's going to be hard to knock off the ball. She can blitz if she needs to get out of trouble. She's just going to be harder to take down, and she'll be better at taking others down. And so we like that. And she's Edge 2+. It's very rare that we go storming into a 3-0 lead with the ups and downs. But she's got good movement, she's got good strength, she's got good agility. She's a vampire after all. And she's kind of like a cross between the thrower and the runner, because she's got the strength of the thrower, but the agility and, quicker movement of the thrower closer to the vampire runner. The vampire runner is movement 8, but only strength 3. So she's kind of like a halfway house between the two. A very nice blend. She's passing 3+. I'm not going to give that an up or a down because, I don't think you'll be using her as a thrower. And then finally, armor 9+, which is average, but obviously the runners on the vampire team have got worse armor, so it's certainly not bad. Right, on to her skills and traits. She's got Bloodlust. Now, even though Bloodlust has improved in this game, we can't say that it's not a down, because it's still a nega trait and it's still going to cause you issues, and you've got to try and plan around it. You've got to try and make sure that it's not going to break your momentum or alter your plans. So you can't say that it's an up, and we have to give it a down. However, Bloodlust 2+ in this version of the rules is a lot easier to maintain than it was in previous editions of the game. So not a horrendous nega trait, but one that does need careful planning. She's got dodge. We know how much I love dodge on a player, and that's going to really help her. With Edge 2+ and dodge, it means she is very reliably going to be able to nip in and out of tackle zones when she needs to. She's got Hypnotic Gaze, which, is very, very powerful. Lots of vampire players sing the praises of that Hypno Gaze. A lot of people's game plans revolve completely around Hypno Gaze. So the fact that she's got it means that if she's taken up the position of another vampire, you're not losing that Hypno Gaze ability. And being a Bloodlust 2+, she's got to roll 2 2+s basically to activate and then use her Hypno Gaze, which makes her better at it than the vampire blitzers who need to roll a 3+ for their Bloodlust in order to do a Hypno Gaze action. So, that's pretty good. She's got Jump Up. You know what? I'm going to give that an up as well, because Jump Up is really, really useful for doing things like blocking from the ground. She's strength 4 after all, so she'd be decent at that. It's useful for catching back up with ball carriers who they may have seen you crash to the floor and then they've made a break for the end zone, but you can jump up and chase after them. Same goes in the opposition's half. If she's down in the opposition's half and they think, well, no worries, she's going to lose movement, they can't bank on that now because she can just jump right up again. It's never a bad thing to have jump up. Some people will always argue about its value, particularly on certain player types, but on a runner, I don't think you can argue with jump up for free. Well, I say for free, it's baked into a cost, but you know what I mean. It's not something you might take on another player, but it's certainly one that you're happy to start with. Then we've got Loner. We're ignoring that because they've all got it. And then we have Regeneration. And that one I'm going to give an up to as well, because it means that if someone does casualty her, maybe they foul her or they use mighty blow, claws, something to get her off the pitch, she has a 50-50 chance of just coming back again on the next drive, and that's really, really useful. And it makes spending that money on her feel a little bit better, knowing that there's a good chance, well, not a good chance, there's a half chance that you're going to get to use her again, even if she gets casualtied. So we like that. So, not many players have raced into a 7-1 lead after just stats and skills on my list. Can she keep that going? Well, plays for Sylvanian Spotlight, Vampire, Shambling Undead, Necromantic Horror, and Tomb Kings. At first, you might look at that and think, that's not bad, because there's plenty of other star players who can play for less teams or around the same. But I'm actually going to give this a down. And that's because she has Bloodlust, which means she needs to feed on thralls if she fails, and only one of those teams come with thralls. So if you want to play her on Shambling Undead, Necromantic Horror, or Tomb Kings, if she fails Bloodlust, you've got to take it. And again, you could perhaps see it as, well, it's just like a bonehead. But it's not, because it causes a turnover. So you'd have to be very careful with how you use her. And yeah, she's got an ability that can mitigate that once in the game. And you might just roll really well. But I don't know if I'd want to take that risk going into a game, particularly when there are other star players for Shambling Undead and Necromantic Horror and Tomb Kings, Cheney, that you could run instead. So I don't think that's a bonus for her. I really think you'd only see her on a vampire team. I might be wrong. There might be Shambling Undead, Necro, and Tomb King coaches out there thinking that she'd fit in well. But take me, I'm a Necro coach, and I can't foresee a situation where I'd want Karina von Riesz on my team. I've already got decent runners. I've got decent blitzers. And for her cost, I can get Cheney. For cheaper, I could get Ivan. Even Frank as a blocker, if he's still in the game, who knows where he is. I don't know why you'd use her. That's all I'm saying. So I've given her a down, actually, because I don't know how often you'd see her outside of a vampire team. And then even on a vampire team, I mean, she's pretty handy, pretty much a handy runner, but would you rather be levelling up your actual vampire runners? So I think that goes against her a little bit. And then she has a special rule, Tasty Morsel. Once per game, when Karina fails the Bloodlust roll, she may choose to bite an opposition player with a strength of 3+ or lower. If they were a Thrall Lyman teammate, Karina may not... As if they were a Thrall Lyman teammate, sorry. Karina may not bite star players with this special rule. So, that's pretty good. I like that. I can't give it an up because it's a once per game thing. And, that... If she had this once per drive or once per half, I mean, it would be very powerful for one. But also, it would help mitigate using her on another team that's not vampires. But once per game, it's not a down. It's a decent rule, but I can't give it an up because, it's one of those things that it might not trigger. Because you've got to fail Bloodlust and you've already got to be... I suppose you don't have to be standing next to them. You could go up and bite somebody, but that probably means you're going to change what you would have been doing with her. So yeah, I'm not. It's not bad, but it's not getting an up either. That brings her to her cost, 230, and like I've already alluded to, I don't think 230 is bad for what you get, but I might argue that there's other plays that you'd rather have for that money. So again, no up or down for her cost. I think it's pretty fair, but the problem is there's competition in that slot. For players who do perhaps a more specified role within the team. And then that leads me to another down, and that is, I don't know if she quite fulfills any of the roles that you really, really want. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's a 2+ movement 7 dodge runner. On most teams, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? And if she could play for humans, for example, she's great. She's like a lower cost, not a lower cost Jordell or Griff, but do you know what I mean? She's at that bracket below where she can do some real good touchdown scoring potential. And she's got a bit of utility as well because she's strength 4 and she's got Hypnogaze. But I almost think she's got a bit too much utility, and I don't know. Usually, if I'm picking a star player, it's because I want them to take on a specific role, and I don't know what role she'd take. So if we take vampires, she's slower than the runners. She's not got the combat skills that could perhaps make her a better blitzer than the blitzers. She can't throw like the throwers. So I don't know what job she does, and for that reason, I'm going to give her a down, which is really, it probably seems a bit harsh, but she's got great stats. She's got some decent skills, but I just don't know when I'd use her, and that's going to count against her, I think. But even so, 7-3 gives her a +4 score, which is all right. It's not too bad, and so on the tier list, that puts her in this big bracket of players in the middle, which has Wither Grasp, Bile Rot, Kiroth, and Boa. All of those in. I've smacked her in the middle of that because I think I'd rather take her than Boa or Kiroth, but I think Wither Grasp and Bile Rot have more of a role for the teams that would use them than Karina does. So yeah, there she lands, right in the middle. So not bad, not a bad spot for her. But she's not the top female star. I'm still giving that to Karina von Riesz. But she's ahead of Willow Rosebark. So, what did I want to mention? Oh, that was it. As you can see, my star player tier list now, because I wasn't sure on where these would all land with their scorings. So the star player tier list is becoming a bit top heavy. I've got quite a few who are in its SAB and not many in CDE. So I'm not going to do it now, but I think what I might do is I might change E to 0 and below. So that would see Willow, Rashnak, and Barrack in the bottom tier. Then that would move everybody down a tier. And I think I might have... So that might see some of the S tiers drop into A. All of the A's down to B. All of the B's down to C. Just because I think we're going to end up with a lot in B. If you think about it, you know, most star players have a few more pros than they do cons. So that inevitably is going to lead them to having a score of between 2 and 4. So I think, you know, or 2 and 6 even. So you're going to see a lot in AB and maybe C later on, but not many in D&E. And it also, maybe that's my more optimistic take on things, which I tend to have. I mean, I've had people say that I've undersold certain star players and I should be giving more ups to certain things. So I'm not optimistic all the time with everybody, but I do generally, I am, you know, easily impressed when it comes to rules and stats. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll change the tiering a little bit, and that means we'll have a bit more of a mega top tier, which I think certainly Ripper would be in, and Grack and Crumbleberry. Can't remember what Hackflem got, whether he'd tip into that or whether he'd be in that A tier in between. Anyway, that's it from me. Don't forget to tell me what you think about Karina in the comments. And please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these star player videos or the roster videos. We've also got all the changes that have taken place between Blood Bowl seasons 2 and 3. And a few live, well, not live, a few recorded BB3 games. Maybe live one day. So yeah, subscribe so you can catch all those. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you very much. Bye for now.